I am delighted we could share in the serenity and joy of this beautiful day as we come together to celebrate the commitment of these.
Would you mind moving your enormous phone?
You mean the enormously awesome galaxy?
Search One Trick Pony.
Aren't you a little young to have an iPhone?
You want to go?
iSheep, copy bots.
Autocorrect this.
Is there an app for that?
Search karate. Karate!
You think if they knew about the Nokia Lumia, they'd stop fighting all the time?
I don't know. I think they kind of like fighting.
The Windows Phone Nokia Lumia 920. Engadget's Reader's Choice Smartphone of the Year.
Hello everyone, and welcome. My name is Carlos Razo, and the clip that you just saw was another well-executed advertisement that has the basic key components that make such commercials memorable. Truly, this is something greatly important in advertisements when trying to convince a large group of people into believing in a product, service, or even idea. The reason for this is because now that individual doesn't have to see the commercial again. All they have to see is that brand identification in order to mentally recreate that commercial, thus increasing the chances of them buying the product, the service, or believing in that idea. Now, moving away from the importance of making ads memorable and into the actual key components. I stated earlier that there were 3 key components, with the exception of one more that could be added or left out. For this, I'm actually going to show you where I got these key components from. So we'll be doing some internet surfing, or surfing the web, I should say. And I will be pulling up this document for you guys. Okay, you could actually pull up these key elements, components, if you go to Google and type in the search bar how to make your advertisement memorable. It's going to be the first link, and once you click on it, you'll be directed to Forbes. The article is by Louis Geller, and the title is How to Make Your Advertisements Memorable. Now if you scroll down, and you go to part where it says why, what made them great. Here they have the 4, they call it 4 key components because depending on the situation, that something else, as I read it, can be added or be left out, like I said. So let me read it. Besides our work, there are usually 4 key elements in great ads. A disruptive, a relevant visual, strong brand identification, a brilliant headline, and something else. The something else is a variable. In the case I mentioned above, the variable is curiosity. What's going on here? It looks interesting. And so here you have your basic 4 components, as they like to call it, for making an advertisement memorable. Now that we have the background of the importance and the actual key components that make ads memorable, we are going to try and apply what was learned in order to identify the key components on the commercial played at the beginning. I'm not going to play the whole clip, only the actual key components that are seen in this commercial, with that exception of the one that could be added or left out. Here in the starting scene, we already see 3 sides being established. We have one side on the left and one side on the right. And down in the center, you have your neutral side. Take in mind that in the scene, there is no bright colors that are distracting the viewers. Everything's pretty calm. Even in this scene, you can see the 2 sides and the neutral side. You have one side on your right, and everyone's raising up a phone, as well as in the left side, giving you the impression that it's going to be about some sort of phone product that they're trying to advertise. Take in mind again that in the background there are no bright colors that are distracting you, that catch your attention. Everything seems to be normal. It's a regular wedding scene until the conflict starts to develop. And in all reality, this would be your disruptive and relevant visual. As we see and as we speed it up right now, we can see that the conflict is unfolding. This is the actual part when the verbal insults start to take place, escalating the actual conflict. And when we speed it up, we will go to our next key component in this commercial. So let's try and speed it up and go to this part right here. In this part, you actually have your strong brand identification, and that's something else. Right now, as we speed it up, here in this part, we're seeing they actually say that it's a Nokia phone, so you know it's that brand identification, and that's something else because you have these two people that are in the wedding. However, they are not taking part in that fight. They're being the adults in the scene. They're being the responsible ones, showing the type of phone they have. Okay, as we fast forward for the last and final time to get to our brilliant headline, which states "Don't fight, switch." Now, what makes this such a brilliant headline is the fact that it's easy to understand. There's nothing really complicated about it. When viewers are watching this at home and this commercial pops up and they see this, they understand what it's trying to tell them, which is to switch to a Nokia phone. And in all reality, that is basically what you want to do in order to have a brilliant headline, which is to have that, to make it as simple as possible in order for the viewers to understand the true meaning of your commercial. Now that we've learned everything, all this and the basic key elements that make such memorable commercials, we as IB students have to go that extra mile and show how this is used on a global scale. And what we're going to end up seeing is that these basic key elements are utilized all around the world in means of having a good, memorable commercial. In other words, every good commercial has these basic key components. It doesn't matter what type of commercial it is. The only things that we will see that are going to change are the cultural aspects, which are changed in order to please the audience of that region. And we'll get a better understanding once I show you guys these commercials and we go through them together, analyze them. And yeah, so let's get started. This is a European commercial. I'll play it through. I'm just gonna be pointing out the key elements in this commercial. So enjoy. Right here, right in the starting scene, you have that something else key element, which is curiosity. The reason it brings curiosity is because you wanna figure out who's winning, what's going on, who's playing.
Maybe they're friendly.
And that scene where you just saw people coming up from the underworld, that would be your disruptive and relevant visual, because you can see how they're battling it out, two sides. That would be your brand identification, because you know it's Nike. Nike's promoting some sort of shoe brand or their logo, their products, and that would be again your brand identification. It's Nike, their symbol, and the "Just Do It" quote. Now, the reason that wouldn't be your brilliant headline is because the actual headline for this commercial is good versus evil. And the reason that's such a brilliant headline is because you have Nike, which is trying to associate themselves with good, and then you have those other evil brands that Nike's trying to look down in this commercial. As they defeat them, we're going to be doing the same exact thing, so enjoy. This would be your disruptive and relevant visual, which is the kid not being able to fit into society. But with the help of Pepsi, you will see how he will manage to fit into this culture. Pretty straightforward. You know, this would be your brand identification. It's Pepsi. That something else element would be the symbol that people have in their foreheads and that's in the background, because it brings curiosity to the viewers, trying to figure out what it stands for. The ask for more, that would be your brilliant headline, because it's simple, it's easy to understand. Again, notice a similar pattern forming from previous commercials. Just a recap on everything that we've learned to finish it all off, starting with importance of having memorable commercials. We saw that it was really important to have these types of commercials, because if you're trying to go and convince a large group of people to believe in that product, service, or even idea, you want to recreate that commercial without having them to actually be in front of a TV. You want basically just from that one time that they saw that commercial, you want to like drill it into their head, so next time they see the product, it just brings like a flashback. The 3 key components are very critical for this, and there's that exception that could be added or left out. We saw this in the various commercials that we analyzed. And I also showed you guys the importance and how this is implemented on a worldwide scale. In reality, not much changed. We saw that the basic structures were still there. There was only a few changes here and there in the commercials from different areas, and it was mostly in the cultural aspects. In one region, in the last 2 commercials that we saw, one of the regions was huge on soccer, while the other one was more about that Buddhist life. And so we kind of got that idea. It was pretty evident throughout the video. Showing everyone, I think the big part of this was showing everyone that just because we're separated, we're in different areas, our techniques of trying to convince a large group of people when it comes to creating commercials and advertising in those commercials, we basically have the same structure. It doesn't change, and it's something really unique. A lot of times we get the impression, oh, it's gonna change a lot, and in this case, it didn't. It was something that stayed pretty constant throughout the commercials. We were able to analyze one after the other. We were able to identify the 3 key components, with that exception of the one. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed,